just Montana DEQ's role, or the lack thereof. I really don't feel, based on the record that I've established here through my notes and conversations and documentation that they've done to date, that there was ever a thorough cleanup, that in fact hazardous constituents may have found their way into BFI's landfill, which is just the watershed here in Missoula. So there's important documentation. I ask for forgiveness for being a little bit not diligent in calling all this stuff that's here, and I submit it to the record for your review. Finally, I do want to draw attention to this huge thing next to me. It's a Freedom of Information Act request that I did to the Federal Railroad Administration, asking them to disclose Montana Rail Link's accident safety record here in Montana. They went a little bit farther than I asked them to include other railroads, but essentially just documentary evidence. It's from February 14th, 1990 to November 17th, 1997. And it details, again, the number of defects, accidents, chemical releases that seem to be fairly commonplace here in Montana. I was actually very surprised at the extent, number, and magnitude of the problems that were being reported. And again, this is what we get to inspect. And I highly recommend, I'm going to provide this information to the Ombudsman office. I highly recommend that you work with an expert outside the FRA to find out if there's additional information other than what's being disclosed here about the safety of our railroads here in Montana. This is a documentary record of what they're providing. And I went through, I noticed some points that were very, what I thought were very serious defects, all across the board. The rail yards, the rail lines, to maintenance of the locomotives, to worker safety protocols. It's all here. At least a good shot of it, at least a picture in time of what's happening on railroads here in Montana. And I just for the record, I want to read a few things that are in here. It's not just for Montana Rail Link, but it's for railroad operators here in Montana. Just a general summary of some of the findings. Defective joint ties in a highway grade crossing. Failure to inspect rail line at required frequencies. Brake shoes worn out. Records show inspector directs FRA track defects to an attachment report. The report was missing. 19 consecutive cross ties, defective. Interference with normal functioning of the warning system without taking measures to provide for the safety of the train and highway traffic. That was being tossed in Montana. That was a clear violation. Failure to report eastbound absolute signal defect within 15 days to the FRA. That was also a violation. Interference with normal functioning of the train system's devices. That was a violation. Consist of train revealed no hazmat shipping description for a placard, flammable tank car, and a covered hopper car containing sodium chloride. That was also a violation. Inspection of train consist revealed that a car containing chlorine failed to show the notation poison inhalation hazard. Conductor's list failed to show any hazmat description for a car containing molten sulfur. Shipping description of a multi-unit car failed to show shipping descriptions for acetonic trimethylchloroforcylane. Comparison of train list revealed 2 lead cars not on the list, creating an inaccurate position of all hazmat cars on the train. Inspection of tank car containing residue of environmentally hazardous substances, liquid NOS. Revealed bottom outlet cap All 8 manually covered securements bolts were loose. Faded placards and missing placards, inappropriately placard cars is a common occurrence in these reports. Inspection of outbound train revealed no hazmat shipping description for formaldehyde, hydrochloric acid cars containing those solutions. A few more. Inspection of hazmat materials train program and record-keeping documents revealed no certification was produced to show employees of train tested. That was 82595. That was for the car shop office here in Missoula, Montana, for Montana Rail. Void materials, which is this, contain incomplete descriptions of failures noted in the inspection reports involving hazardous materials. Cross ties not effectively distributed to support a 39-foot segment of track. Failure of inspector to provide required information. Failure to initiate remedial action. Deviations found. It goes on. That's just a brief glimpse of one volume, about one volume. I just have a few more things to submit. The last one is a letter to you that we were a party to. And on that note, I just want to thank you for being here. And for Representative Lookout, for Mr. Janelle that was here earlier today, the brave city folks that also showed up. The Alberton residents that it was very difficult for them to be here to testify about things that they're still experiencing. And for me, it's you know, in a way, you're the last hope here. There's not many other people that can bring closure to what happens in Alberton, Montana, what continues to happen to the folks that were involved. It was evident in the fact that a lot of our city officials, county officials, emergency responders, state, and some federal folks, and we're not here. That speaks volumes. And someone, somewhere along the line, needs to bring the truth out, and needs to bring justice to people who've long denied it. And I really think that's up to you. I don't know anybody else. I don't believe that the private lawsuits are going to help bring closure to this. We need an official person, a government person, who can bring some finality, some help. And I think justice and truth at this point would help people immensely. So, thank you for being here, and I wish you the best. You're welcome.
Can I ask one question?
Well, before I recognize you, all the documents you have for submission to the record are accepted.
I need to keep this because I haven't reviewed it and I want to summarize it. And I'm going to submit written affidavit type information along with all this. In addition to some other stuff in my files that I haven't even had a chance to bring today.
So noted. So, Mr. Chalmers,
Yes.
are you pointing, or are we going to go to the last witness?
Okay. Mr. Chalmers, Roger Chalmers. Darrell, in your review of these other train wrecks, you mentioned the consist report. Can you explain what a consist report is, and can you, in your analysis, if you don't know it already, explain to the Ombudsman in your final writings that the consist report probably is used routinely by this railroad as opposed to bills of lading shipping papers?
I just want to clarify, there's train manifest, there's consist, there's train and operator descriptions of what's being carried on the trains. Instead of answering that directly, I really think that we need some expert help here to go through some of these issues that are being raised in these documents and which were present. This is evidence that led up to Alberton, and it still continues. You need expert help to really take a hard look at this, and also to dig a little further. This was a scratch. I did this by sending 2 pages of information to the FRA. And you can do it, I'm sure you can do a hell of a lot more than I can.
That's a significant scratch.
Good.
Thank Thank you, and I'd like to proceed to the last witness, Barbara Miller. And after her statement and closing remarks by Representative Cookout, then I have a statement.
My name is Barbara Miller. I'm director of the Silver Valley People's Action Coalition in Kellogg, Idaho. Our work is organizing the community to clean up the, which was once the second largest Superfund site in the nation. Because of indifference, to put it kindly, because of lack of listening to, on behalf of the agencies, health agencies, government agencies, political people. Bunker Hill now has been extended to 1,500 more square miles, becoming the largest Superfund site in the nation. I didn't bring a lot of testimony and documentation today because I didn't know what I was going to say, but I listened to the people as they testified, the victims, and one thing that stood out is we have lots of documentation back in the office that has been provided over the years, and it began in 1896 with citizens saying the same things as the citizens at Alberton are saying, that we have a problem here. Our livestock, the livestock were dying, and it was proven because it was of the lead and the pollution from the industry, and no one listened. So for 100 years went by, and now 5 generations of people are living with lead poisoning, arsenic poisoning, heavy metal contamination, and believe it or not, we're not that much further ahead than the citizens of Alberton. So this opportunity to listen and hear this testimony, this democratic process is very, very positive. And it's about the only hope people have in resolving a very serious issue. A couple of things that I want to be sure to, observations were, there has been a decision made to do further testing, make it more comprehensive, and I heard that be said today. That's very, very good. I also want to put a caution out there because there could be an overreactive type of response to that request. In the case of Bunker Hill, when our organization got involved, there was $25 million worth of studies done. And the citizens were the last ones to really understand and know about them, most of the citizens. So the word is to the community and you as agency people and leaders to work together in what those studies are. I encourage that the community be given the same reporting at the same time as the politicians, the agency people are. The people in the community are the experts, and they, believe it or not, know what's going on, affected or not affected. And another thing in hindsight that can be used for foresight for the people of Alberton, as the intensity of this issue and the truth grows, there is a real concern that repercussions, you heard it mentioned today, at Bunker Hill it's said gradually or subtly, but repercussions are a very serious thing to citizens who come forward and testify. And yes, they are very, very courageous, and they don't receive a whole lot of compensation. They're doing this because it's their future and future generations. And I think we're all involved for that reason. So one thing I'd like to be real specific about that Representative, can't see her last name.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, book out.
Okay, you be in a position, and if there is problems, that these citizens can come to you and you can troubleshoot for them, because they can get bad. They are bad now. They can get worse. guess I'm a good example of that. And it wouldn't be happening without good work being done and people working together and that truth coming out. The other thing for agency people that have not maybe responded the way they should, they've committed errors, it's never too late. They don't even have to come forward and apologize. All they have to do is start working and doing the right thing, working with community people. And for that, I think there stands some real good hope of citizens getting what needs to take place in resolution at Alberton 95 years before the people of Bunker Hill. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a final statement from Lisa Mosca.
Sorry. I have two very quick things.
Ma'am, can you your last name, please?
Yes, it's Mosca, M-O-S-C-A. I want to enter into the record something compiled by HopeSeek, a chronology of the media reports, incident command notes, technical brief notes, and information officers, the logs and evacuee meeting notes from 4/11/1996 to the re-entry for 2896. It's 28 pages. I want to enter in my thesis with better sound than your office currently has. And I want to make one final point, which has held out for me from interviewing at least 50, if not more people over the course of the last 4 years of meeting them or talking to them. There were a number of people who were here today who couldn't stay for various reasons or who couldn't come today either because they worked. They were afraid to come. They're not good at public speaking, they think, although I think they'd be great. I want to be recognized for the record as you continue to investigate that there are a number of victims who've left the area, that if the EPA or other responsible government officials have been on site at the time of the spill happening or immediately thereafter, you would expect them as public officials to take a record of the people who were evacuated, but one of the hardest parts has been tracking the people over the years who have left the area in terms of long-term health issues, in terms of getting them information. And so I would like your office to consider that and to consider issues about people coming forward and testifying and people who are still in the general area. There are a list of families in the film who definitely have left the area and who still have health problems. Anyway, and one final quote from Deborah Griffin, who is a former resident now living in West Yellowstone. Closure cannot be achieved until EPA can actually tell me and list exactly what my family and I were exposed to on April 11th, 1996 and the years following while we lived in Alberton, and until they hold the polluter MRL accountable and responsible. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Martin, give me 20 seconds, literally. Just update my original comments will be very quick.
Your name again, sir?
Tony Cleo. Two things. One, the chloramines, I just forgot to mention that it's not just on the skin, it's obviously inside the body because the chlorine and then chloride is inhaled. The second thing, the bags of medicines that were held up by several witnesses, victims, I forgot to mention that almost all those medicines were immune system anti-inflammatories designed to quiet down the immune system, steroidal and non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, which is a very direct proof that these people are suffering from immune system activation.
Thank you.
Well, go ahead. Sorry, but it's just
Please
something I
come to the
have.
table.
Yes. My name is Beverly Breidenauer, and I just want to add one thing. With regards to State Environmental coming in to do the follow-up testing, and with what Roger's recommendation was to let EPA Region 8 inspect their testing protocol before I guess they come in here and actually do that. I don't think we really want to let Region 8 take a look at that. I think we should let you take a look at that, Bob, along with your ERT team, as opposed to EPA Region 8, since we are here actually investigating what they have already done or not done. Thank you.
Noted for the record and consistent with the request of Senator Max Baucus. Thank you. I'd like to make, I will make at this time 2 determinations. One is jurisdictional in nature and one is procedural in nature. The jurisdictional determination I will deem rebuttable. The procedural determination is not rebuttable. On the jurisdictional determination, counsel for Montana Rail Link has argued that I have no authority in the jurisdiction to be here and to entertain this case. I find that presumptively without merit. I welcome the participation of Montana Rail Link in this case as we move forward, and would favor that as opposed to briefs from the company on this issue. Nonetheless, I will accept briefs on jurisdiction on this issue from the company, but would do so upon the following foundation. I'd like to enter into the record at this time a certified letter dated October 15, 1997 from Ms. Carol Ruffin, Assistant Regional Administrator, Office of Enforcement, Compliance and Environmental Justice, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, Region 8, to Mr. Darrell Ruse, Montana Rail Link, 111 North Higgins Street, Suite 200A, Missoula, Montana. I will read in pertinent part from the communication. Dear Mr. Ruse, pursuant to authority contained in Section 104 of the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation, and Liability Act of 1980, as amended by the Superfund Amendments and Reauthorization Act of 1986, 42 U.S.C. Section 9604, the United States Environmental Protection Agency determined on April 11, 1996, that there was a release or a substantial threat of a release of hazardous substances as defined by Section 101.14 from a site known as the Alberton train derailment site located approximately 2 miles west of Alberton, Montana. The letter goes on to provide in pertinent part, quote, the cost to date of the response actions related to the site through EPA funding is approximately $90,415.88. This amount is preliminary and does not limit EPA from providing a revised figure if additional costs are identified. Close quote. And finally, in pertinent part, the letter provides that this site is to be assigned the following identification: Alberton Train Derailment Site and Superfund Site Identification Number /SSID#1J. Close quote. On the basis of this communication, which was forwarded to Montana Rail Link on October 15th of 1997, exercising the authority of the EPA under the Superfund statute and the Superfund program, I have jurisdiction to hear this case as National Ombudsman, as part of my jurisdiction recognized by the Office of General Counsel of the EPA, is to hear complaints from citizens on matters such as these. I make this determination in this hearing. It is rebuttable. As I noted earlier, I will take briefs from MRL on this matter. However, I would favor the cooperation as we move forward, and I believe that they will cooperate. Secondly, on a procedural note, there will be a second hearing. I have determined that there will be a second hearing. I invite all of you to return to that hearing. I will also invite, once again, the participation of Montana Rail Link through its officials and through Mr. Washington as majority shareholder of the corporation. I will also expect the attendance of United States Environmental Protection Agency Region 8 personnel, and because that we will be providing at least 1 month's notice for the second hearing, I expect that the Montana Department of Environmental Quality will be able to send representatives as well as the City of Missoula. That being said, I'd like to very much thank all of you for coming and enduring this long day, and I commend you. Representative Bookout. Representative Bookout has asked if I will have subpoena power by then, for the record. The Congress of the United States is entertaining legislation in both the Senate and in the House to provide such power. And that is pending. Representative Bookout.
Okay, based on what's happened today, what I've heard today, and I was reelected, so I will be in Helena next session. I plan on doing one of two things. I will either carry a bill mandating direct involvement by our own DEQ. Our own DEQ is great at looking at septic systems and plans for development areas. Enough said. I will either carry a bill mandating or a resolution, and what a resolution does during the session is requires an interim committee that will study their process and what they're accomplishing and how they're doing it, and will make recommendations for a cleanup bill, so to speak, the following session. So I will be doing one of those two. I want to thank you guys that are still here for the long haul. And it's a committee's job to listen and your job to talk. And fortunately, you guys got done first. We were still listening.
All right, to close out the hearing on the record, I'd like to note that written testimony and comments for the record regarding this case will be accepted by me anytime up to 30 days after this date. That information can be provided to me, Robert Martin, U.S. EPA National Ombudsman, 1200 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, mail code 5101, Washington, D.C., zip code 20460. Also, if you have any further questions, the Office of Ombudsman can be reached at toll-free 1-800-262-7937 or by fax at 202-401-1740 or by email at martin.robert@epa.gov.
Can we thank the court reporter too?
Yes.
I do thank the court reporter for the record. Thank you for staying. Hearing's closed.
Not yet.